Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Alhamdulillahi wa kafa wa salamun ala ibadihi allazina istafa amma ba'd. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Fadhkuruni azkurkum washkuru li wa la takfurun. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun wa salamun ala al mursalin walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Allahumma salli ala sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala ali sayyidina Muhammadin wa barik wa sallim. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم. Inshallah ta'ala, we start today's majlis with the beautiful name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As always, we beseech Him and we ask of Him that Allah ta'ala allows us to sit together in such remembrance that it becomes a source of our change and our transformation into something that is pleasing to Him, inshallah ta'ala, that it awakens our heart, that it provides solace to our souls, inshallah ta'ala, and it brings us closer, one step closer to our maqam of ubudiyya towards Him. So inshallah, stay focused on your hearts and make sure that your hearts are focused on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and do dhikr with muhabbat, with devotion, inshallah. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Astaghfirullah Rabbi min kulli dhanbin wa atubu ilayh. Astaghfirullah Rabbi min kulli dhanbin wa atubu. Astaghfirullah Rabbi min kulli dhanbin. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. آمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الحمد لله. صراط اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم. اللهم صل على بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ألم نشرح لك صدرك ووضعنا عنك وزرك الذي أنقض ظهرك ورفعنا لك ذكرك فإن مع العسر يسرا إن مع العسر يسرا فإذا فرغت فانصب وإلى ربك فارغب. ألم نشرح لك صدرك ووضعنا عنك وزرك. ألم نشرح لك صدرك ووضعنا. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. آمين. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم. اللهم صل على سيدنا اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم يا قاضي الحاجات يا قاضي الحاجات يا قاضي الحاجات يا قاضي الحاجات. اللهم يا كافي المهمات يا كافي المهمات يا كافي المهمات يا كافي. اللهم يا دافع البليات يا دافع البليات يا دافع البليات يا دافع. اللهم يا شافي الأمراض يا شافي الأمراض يا شافي الأمراض يا شافي الأمراض. اللهم يا رافع الدرجات يا رافع الدرجات يا رافع الدرجات يا رافع الدرجات. اللهم يا مجيب الدعوات يا مجيب الدعوات يا مجيب الدعوات يا مجيب الدعوات. اللهم يا مسبب الأسباب يا مسبب الأسباب يا مسبب الأسباب يا مسبب الأسباب يا مسبب. اللهم يا حل المشكلات يا حل المشكلات يا حل المشكلات يا حل المشكلات. اللهم يا أرحم الراحمين يا أرحم الراحمين يا أرحم الراحمين يا أرحم الراحمين. يا أرحم الراحمين. برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. Ya Allah Kareem, whatever was read, Allah, we ask you that you send the reward of this as a gift to all the messengers and prophets, alayhi salatu wasalam, especially Hazrat Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Allah send the reward of this as a gift to all the companions, all the Sahaba Karam, Ridwanullahi Ajma'een, especially the Ahlul Bayt, the Ummahatul Mu'mineen, the Ashara Mubashara, the four rightly guided Khalifs, especially Hazrat Abu Bakr Siddiq, radiallahu ta'ala anhu. Allah send the reward of this to all the Siddiqeen, Shuhada, Salihin, ulama wa mashayikh Ahl Sunnah wal Jamaat, and the arwah of all the mu'mineen, mu'minat, Muslimin, Muslimat. Ameen Ya Rabbal Alameen. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل. حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل. حسبنا الله ونعم. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم. اللهم صل على سيدنا. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا خفي اللطف أدركني بلطفك الخفي. يا خفي اللطف أدركني بلطفك الخفي. يا خفي اللطف أدركني بلطفك. يا خفي اللطف أدركني. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا باقي أنت الباقي. يا باقي أنت الباقي. يا باقي أنت الباقي. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين. لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين. لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا حي يا قيوم برحمتك أستغيث. يا حي يا قيوم برحمتك أستغيث. يا حي يا قيوم برحمتك. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والله ذو فضل على المؤمنين والله ذو فضل والله ذو فضل اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون إنا لله وإنا لله اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم اللهم صل على سيدنا بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الله ولي الذين آمنوا الله الله ولي الذين اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم اللهم صل بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والله ولي المؤمنين والله ولي المؤمنين والله ولي المؤمنين اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد اللهم صل على سيدنا لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا لا إله إلا لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله الحمد لله وكفى والسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى أما بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا لما تقولون ما لا تفعلون سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم. Inshallah ta'ala, we will continue our discourse about the razail, about the ikhlaq that we are supposed to get rid of and the ikhlaq that we're supposed to adopt. Razila versus ikhlaq azima of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And this is a topic that we have been discussing for quite some time now. And every week we try to cover very briefly because we can spend hours and hours and hours discussing each and every one of them. But we take one spiritual ailment, one spiritual disease that we may be afflicted with, and we try to discuss a little bit. So, A, there's a better understanding in our minds, and B, we are able to bring it into our wijdan, into our halat, into our kayfiyat, into our condition and state as well. So, last time we spoke a little bit about the concept of did qusur in a sense that we should be the ones who are vigilant about our hal. There's really nobody going to come in and force things upon us. As they say, this is a free society. So we should feel free to be introspective, to look within us and to identify these issues. And we should try to get rid of them. And last time we spoke that there are different ways. A, you should have a halaka, you should have a circle of close friends that they can help you with this. B, you can also take up a spiritual mentor, a life coach in a sense who can help you on this path as well, which is a sheikh. And third, you can always learn from your own enemies, people who oppose you, because sometimes when they're critical of you, they may be critical of things that actually do exist within us. So today, inshallah ta'ala, we will briefly touch base upon another condition that a lot of us can suffer from. And before I introduce that, all of us should be aware of this hadith of Jibreel alayhi salam. This is a very, very sahih hadith towards the end of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam's life here. And it has been narrated in several places, one by Hazrat Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu. And there, Hazrat Jibreel alayhi salam came as a person and he inquired about four things from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The first was Iman. What is Iman? What is belief? What is faith? The second, what was Islam? The third was what is Ihsan? And the fourth was about the Day of Judgment, the hour. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam answered to all of these. And for each of them, Jibreel alayhi salam, he replied with sadaqta, that what you say is right, what you say is true. So Iman is basically what we understand as Iman, Iman mufassal, Iman mujammal, amantu billahi wa malaikati wa kutubihi wa rusuli wal yawmil akhir wal qadri khairi wa sharrihi min Allah ta'ala wal ba'thi ba'd. All of the tenets of faith and creed. And if you look at this, all of these things, iqrarun bil lisan wa tasdeequn bil qalb. You have to verbally acknowledge them and you have to really affirm them within your heart. So when we talk about aqaid, when we talk about iman and faith, it is a condition of one's heart. That your heart really, on an itiqadi level, should really understand this and feel very comfortable with this. Because the rest of the deen lies, about these foundations. Yes, that there is an Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, wa malaikatihi, He has angels through which He sends the kutubihi to the rusulihi, who come and tell us about wal yawmil akhiri, on the Day of Judgment, and they tell us that the life is not that simple. You had Allah Ta'ala's plan is there, which is taqdeer, khairihi wa sharrihi, it is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wal ba'thi ba'd al-maut, and this is not the end of our life here. A person will be resurrected on the Day of Judgment as well. Again, so we have to be very, very clear about the faith, about the iman. The second was Islam, and these are the fundamentals that we know of the shahada, salah, and Saum and zakat and hajj, right? The five things as we call the fundamental. All of those things, they have to do with our apparent self, with our physical being. Shahada is when you say something and somebody else listens, they bear witness to the fact, right? Right? Because ashhadu Allah ila, that I bear witness, I say it. Usually you're saying it to somebody else who listened to the fact. Salah, obviously, there is that physical form. Same thing with your Saum. When you are fasting, there's a physical activity. And then giving out zakah, there's a whole calculation behind that. And going for Hajj itself, there's a ritual ibadat. Of course, there is a physical form and then there's a metaphysical aspect of it as well. But it is it's it has to do with jurisprudence. How do I do this? When do I do this? What are the circumstances around it? So all of physical things to do with our life. How do I get married? How do I get divorced? How do I leave inheritance? How do I have bay wa tijara? All of that comes under this umbrella of Islam. How do I live my life in this world in a physical self? And the third thing is mal ihsan, and subhanallah, it's a very beautiful answer that Rasulullah gave. أن تعبد الله كأنك تراه, that you worship Allah Ta'ala, or you are in a state with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as if you see Him. Now, as Muslims, we understand that we cannot see Allah Ta'ala with our eyes in this dunya. That is something that remains for the akhirah. That is the biggest gift in Jannah. But as if, your state is as if you see Him. And if you're not able to achieve that level, then at least have the level that Allah Ta'ala sees you. فَإِن لَمْ تَكُنْ تَرَى إِنَّهُ يَرَاكَ, that if you cannot see Him, know that Allah Ta'ala sees you. So again, this is something to do very much with the spiritual aspect of being. So ihsan, which in general means excellence, right? So excellence of your living is that you are always in this Allah conscious state. Always in that state that I see Allah, or I am in His presence. Or if I'm not able to feel that yet, at least know that I'm being watched. Yeah? Because when we have the feeling that we are being watched, what happens? Behaviors change. Right? When we know that our parents are here, we won't do certain things. When there's a cop around, we slow down. Right? When the boss is around, behaviors change. And so imagine if you're already in that state, Alam ya'lam bi anna Allah yara, do they not know that Allah Ta'ala is watching them? Then imagine if you're in that state all the time, that it means your behavior will modify itself to a better existence. Because usually we leave something bad and do something good in those conditions, right? So this is I would say, the basis of Islamic spirituality. What we call the tazkiyah or tasawwuf, or whatever you want to call it. But Islamic spirituality resides on this fundamental hadith of Hadith Jibreel, and this fundamental concept of ihsan, becoming people who have consciousness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, to build upon that, if a person has iman, but he does not have Islam, what is that person called? So if a person has iman, but if he does not have ihsan, Islam, then he's called a fasiq. Meaning you completely believe in something, but you are unable to bring yourself to act upon it. So this is fisq. Fisq is basically that you have to do something, but you just are not able to bring yourself. And we'll talk about why we can't bring ourselves to do certain things. Maybe not this gathering, but some other time maybe. If a person has iman and Islam and they do not have ihsan, what is that person called? Meaning you believe something, you're doing something, but you're not, let's put it this way, you're not doing it for the right reasons. And, there's that level of presence with Allah Ta'ala does not exist. This is what is actually nifaq. Because now you're doing things and you have iman, you believe in Allah Ta'ala, and you are bringing into action as well. But the niyat is not there. The niyat for Allah Ta'ala is not there. For example, very small example, and some can relate, some cannot. Back in Pakistan and South Asia, Imagine one person goes into a masjid and the person is just full of, this muhabbat with Allah Ta'ala. He goes in and he joins the prayer. He has the perfect form of the prayer. He goes in sajda, alhamdulillah. We will call him Allah Wala, right? This person, mashallah, doing it for the right reasons. Now imagine another person goes in, he believes in Allah Ta'ala, he's doing the physical form of the salah. But imagine his niyat is that as soon as people are doing their salah, I'm going to get up and I'm going to steal some shoes. Right? So in Pakistan that happens a lot. People will steal shoes. So this person has iman, this person has Islam, meaning he has the physical form of the salah as well. But his heart is not there. I mean, he's doing it for what purpose? What is the niyyah behind it? Everybody is in sajda. I'm going to just get up and I'm going to check out which is the new shoes and get up. People lose their shoes all the time, right? So it means that the first two aspects were present there, but the third one was absent. So this is the nifaq aspect of things that can actually come into a person. Right? And so what is the definition of nifaq? Actually, before we go into that, if a person has the amal but he does not have the iman, what is that called? Meaning, if you're doing this, I remember a person in Faisalabad. This is like a city in Pakistan, and he was, he liked to fast whenever Muslims were fasting as well, but he had not accepted iman. So what happens then is that those amal, it's one of our teachers explained it in a very beautiful way. It's kind of like the W equals to mg analogy. Weight equals to mass times the gravitational force. If there's no gravitational force, you have mass, but there's no weight. So those amal, even though they have mass, meaning something is being done, there's no weight in the eyes of Allah. Meaning, when you go in space, you're weightless. You're not massless, you're weightless. But when you go into space, there's no weight because the G value is 0, which, if I remember correctly, like 9.73 something, right? In this dunya. So just like that, you need that iman for the amal to be acceptable in the eyes of Allah, because that's the basic thing Allah Ta'ala wants from a mu'min. The core definition of a Muslim and a mu'min is that i'tiqadi, the iman of the qalb, that yes, I believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the creator, the master, and all of that. So if a person does not have that, obviously those amal are then not accepted. Okay. All right, so going back to that, so if a person has that, that the niyat is not correct, this is a state of nifaq. So what is the definition, which in English we call hypocrisy? How do you guys define nifaq? And I want some answers from you. What is nifaq? Okay, so when you have double standards. Okay. What else?
When you outwardly show someone you're doing something, but intention is different.
Okay, so outward and inward, there's a difference there.
You say something, but you do it differently. I mean, to do something, but you don't do it.
Okay, so that's the ayat itself, right? لِمَ تَقُولُونَ مَا لَا تَفْعَلُونَ. And why do you say those things that you yourself don't do? So mashallah, very good. What else? Okay. Anything else? Deception, right? So it's a deception that you're just deceiving. You may be deceiving yourself, but certainly you're deceiving others. What else? It's okay. It's okay. I mean, there are multiple answers, so you feel free to just say anything.
Maybe like maybe wawa hoegi.
Okay. So there is that aspect that internally you may be on a different place, but in a sense looking for praise and looking, for doing something for the sake of others. So you can get that wahwa, you can get that praise and recognition as well. Okay. What else? Gadeen.
When there's khilaf between the outward and the inward.
Okay. So when there's a faraq, when there's a khilaf and there's a big difference between inward and outward. Or in a sense, you say one thing, but your heart is somewhere else. Your heart feels something else, but with your tongue you're saying something else. And there's a related concept within hadith which is called dhul wajhain, right? Being two-faced. Right? So sometimes we can be too worded, in a sense we're saying something and feeling something else. And two-faced is basically when you're putting that into action, right? So you one face here, you're pretending, you're being pretentious. Right? And so it comes from the word nafaqa, right? When you all, it's like going through. When you go to Makkah Mukarramah, you might have seen a lot of nafaqs there. Right? What are the nafaqs?
Al-Arabi.
Huh?
Al-Arabi.
I'm early?
Like, yeah,
No, so nafaq there. Nafaqs, what are nafaqs?
nafaqa.
Nafaq.
Think of nafaqa, I think about like giving.
Right. Going through. And so in Saudi Arabia, right, you go to Makkah Mukarramah, those nafaqs that are going through, those are the tunnels. Right? So they're the nafaqs there. When you see all the nafaq this and nafaq that, and you have to tell your taxi that let me go through giving, in a sense, give me get me through to the other side. So nifaq is from similar root, right? And it generally means, from a Sharia perspective, it really comes down to just your heart in a different place, being in a different place, and your tongue and your amal is in a different place. And there are two kinds of nifaq, and we'll only talk about one because the other one, hopefully, nobody's there, and it needs like a separate lecture. So one is the nifaq of i'tiqad, right? And so this is basically the nifaq that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about in Surah Munafiqun, where we all know that there were people who were hypocrites who were living amongst the Muslims in Medina Munawwara. So that kind of nifaq is that internally you have really no relationship with Allah, so you have no belief in Allah, but actively you're pretending to be Muslims for whatever reasons, to kind of spy on them, to kind of oppose them, and so that happened, right? So that happened in Medina Munawwara, and we know the whole story. So that kind of i'tiqadi nifaq, alhamdulillah, most of us are protected from. I mean, some may suffer from that, nowadays, because there's this whole wave of atheism and agnosticism and all of that, where we do find our own brothers and sisters, they will say that they are Muslims. I mean, they will tell you that. They will say that, okay, I'm a Muslim because I'm in a Muslim family, and I don't want to stir any issues, but internally they will tell you, I don't believe in Allah Ta'ala, I don't believe in any of that. So that kind of existence, there's a, that is also like a hypocritical kind of existence, because you're, in your heart, there's no iman there, but you're just pretending to be a Muslim. And a lot of people, how do we deal with that? What kind of tabligh, what kind of da'wah we have to do? How kind of, you have to show compassion and mercy, and how with love you bring those people back. That is a different discussion. So that is the i'tiqadi one. But this is the second kind of nifaq, where people who actually do believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they are very much, ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu. But amali, but as far as the actions are concerned, or the words are concerned, right, they're just not able to bring themselves to that. Right? So I will say, yes, you have to pray 5 times a day. But then at the end of the day, you're just unable to bring yourself to do that. Now, even here, there are 2 reasons why a person falls into this trap. One what we call is just a misunderstanding of rahmat and mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and misunderstanding of shafaat of Rasulullah. Meaning, iradatan, I mean, they will deliberately delay or not do their amal because they have told themselves, oh, Allah is Rahim. Allah is Rahman, Allah is Rahim, and Allah will forgive me. Or Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he will do shafaat of me on the day of Judgment, intercede on my part on the day of Judgment. So some people, and this is actually wrong. I mean, it's good in a sense that a person may have, good feelings towards that, but then it's also a joke with Allah Ta'ala. If that was the case, then why do anything? Why was it that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam came and he gave so many sacrifices? Why was it that Sahaba Kiram came and they gave so many sacrifices? Why is it that the tabain, taba tabain, every generation made so many sacrifices? If at the end of the day Allah Ta'ala will forgive everyone, then why did they do it? Then this is a joke. Then they're standing on the day of judgment. It's like, Ya Allah, why did we do all of that? What was the reason behind all of those trials and tribulations and whatnot? So we misunderstanding the Allah Ta'ala is Rahman and Rahim and Kareem. What we do is we do our best. Even you going to school, Steve is a teacher. You if a person does their best, and let's say they're failing, they'll come, I really tried my best. And then the teacher will say, you know what, you did try your best, but you were failing, it's okay. I'll still give you the passing grade. This is that mercy. And if a person does not do anything, does not show up in the class, does not put in any effort, and he's failing, he just comes, you know what, hey, you're such a good teacher. You're such a good teacher. Just pass me. Now, it's up to you if you pass him or not. But in general, it goes against the whole ethic. Like, why is it that people actually who made those effort and put their heart in and everything, those are deserving of that kind of mercy and compassion. Now, obviously, we don't force things, and we cannot force things on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But the general notion of rahmat is exactly this, that you put in the effort and that you leave everything to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Same thing with the shafaat of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that there are people who have lived their lives in really like sacrificing and adopting the sunnah, following the sunnah. Of course, these people are deserving of the shafa. And then there are people who have nothing to do with the sunnah of Rasulullah, nothing to do with his way of life, and nothing to do with his his gham, his own fikr that he came with, none of that. And then, on the day of judgment, it's like, okay, no, just give me shafaat as well. You're only decreasing your own chances of getting that. So first is those people who iradatan, meaning intentionally, they won't act. And obviously this is a misunderstanding. And then the second kind of people are those people who understand this, but they just cannot bring themselves to act. So there's no misunderstanding there, but they understand they have to do. And there's usually two reasons for that. Again, even if you look at the branch, people who cannot bring themselves to act, there's two reasons. One is called kasal. In Urdu, it's called susti. Understand susti? It's like procrastination. It's just that you just don't have the himmah to do it. We know we have to do it, but we just have the kasal, we just have the susti, we just procrastinate so much that at the end of the day, we just don't do it. And the second reason that, is that they do not have like a good enough understanding of akhirah. Meaning akhirat is, Yawmuddin is a day of accountability. So not having that sense of accountability, that whatever I am doing and thinking and acting and saying, every word, every action, we really have to answer. We have to be answerable to that. So I would say not having enough yaqeen, or maybe it's istihzar, meaning, it's not really in front of you all the time. That aspect of akhirah, of accountability. And usually because of that, because they just put it behind, I just need to focus on here, and I will not think about akhirah, then, all of that thing, it goes away, and then the person is unable to bring themselves to action. Either way, this causes an nifaq in a person, because now you're saying something, but you're not actually doing it. And so the ayah that was read was that Allah Ta'ala asked people of Iman. So this is people of Iman. That why do you say certain things that you do not yourself, you do not do yourself? Or what's in your heart, and you can't bring it to fruition. You can't really act upon those things. So Allah Ta'ala questions that. And we all know also from a different ayah that Allah Ta'ala has prepared the lowest level of Jahannam is for people who are munafiq. That is usually the first kind of munafiqs of the itiqad. But still, if we are stuck in that double or triple or fourth, or who knows how many faces we have, then it is a big concern. It is a huge concern for us as salikin who want to better ourselves, who want to get close to Allah, who want to traverse the path of the suluk and tariqat, this is going to be a huge issue. It's going to be a big issue. Is that we just pretentious people. Some people will do that. I mean, they will. It's easy to come into the form of a Sufi. We'll wear an imama, we'll wear a jubba, none of those are necessary. We do it. Some of that we do it because we feel it's the sunnah. But at the end of the day, what is necessary is the heart needs to be in the right place. The heart needs to submit. It needs to become siddiq. The definition of siddiq, siddiqiyat is the highest form of wilayah. It is the highest form of wilayah that a person can hope for or aim to achieve, is siddiqiyat. And the definition of siddiq is that the outward and inward, there's no farq, there's no khilaf. What they say is what they feel, and what they feel is what they say. And what they feel is how they act. Meaning they love Allah Ta'ala, it forces them to act on it. They love people, it forces them to serve them. They're not just doing it for the sake of doing it or for the sake of, as Hafiz Sahib said, like showing off and garnering like praise and acknowledgement. So it's very important. And what is the ilaj of this? What is the cure of this? Again, it's more and more dhikr of Allah. Because what happens is with tasheer niyat, with being intentional with our actions and making sure our action for Allah, before everything. I'm going to drink water, what is my niyat before that? I'm going to say something, what is my intention? I'm going to talk, I'm going to walk, I'm going to go to job, I'm going to come to the khaniqah. What is the niyat behind all of that? The first step is tasheer niyat. Is that we fix our niyat. Even if you feel like, my heart is, you start to cultivate your heart. Okay, no, heart, you really need to feel this pull. Even if you can't feel the pull, you make it pull towards that thing for Allah. You're making that connection, redirecting all of those intentions towards Allah Ta'ala. It's important. And that tasheer niyat, inshallah Ta'ala, will lead us to ikhlas. Ikhlas in sincerity is basically the core. It's like, you can say it's like opposite. Iman and ikhlas and ihsan is basically the opposite of nifaq. Because nifaq is basically, you're just double-minded and double-headed and double-faced. And iman and ikhlas is like a single face. You're just unidirectional. Ihsan is you're just overwhelmed with that presence of that direction that you have. So salikin must put in their effort to make sure that this, whatever this internal struggle is, we need to get over it. Whatever those feelings are, whatever those memories are, whatever khiyalas, our thoughts are, we really need to bring it into an accord. So we become those unidirectional beings. Everything is for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Is that clear? Any questions about this? Any questions? It's okay to ask now.
Can you force a niyah?
You can force a niyah in a sense, because your feelings, meaning your heart, might be somewhere else. Your khahishat, your nafs might be somewhere else. But sometimes the way you can control them on a limited level is with your aql. And so what you say, no, I'm doing this for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then the aql basically takes over the other faculties. Right? So I'll give you another example. Let's say you're outside and you come across a Cinnabon shop, because I really like Cinnabon. Now your heart is, I really, really desire something sweet right now. And not just like, subhanAllah, Cinnabon is right there. But then you remember, what, my mom told me not to eat outside. So your aql basically, no, I'm not going to eat. So even though your heart wants it, even though your nafs is desiring it, with that aql for the time being, it cannot persist for a very long time, I will say, because if nafsani khahish is very, very powerful, then aql just goes away. That happens too. If the heart, when you're in love, everything goes away. Or when you feel hatred for someone, then everything else just goes away. You can't control it. Your aql cannot. You become angry, and people lose. People lose it in temper. People lose it when there's the shahwa aspect of things. So they lose it. But in general, you can always use your akal to kind of transform your niyyah towards Allah Ta'ala. And if it's not something that's very much affects your heart or the nafs, inshallah, that they will come in line as well.
Like, let's say you're doing one thing, but you can have either an intention that's your own nafs desire, or you can make the intention of doing it for Allah. But you're doing the same thing. Can you force the intention of doing it for Allah?
Yes. So if you force that intention, inshallah, that becomes an act of ibadah, even though that there might be some nifsani lazat in that. That's totally okay to do. That's totally okay to do. Alhamdulillah.
One question. Going back to the part where you said like being in continuous with God will also help you, like aid you in having like a proper niyyah and remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So like say you're in school and then you have like your friends, like they kind of become close to you or some people like in school, and then sometimes obviously they bring up conversations of like girls in school or something, or just some inappropriate conversation you could say that's like maturing. Is it? So how do you kind of like in an environment like that and having like a surrounding like that, it's like very difficult for trying to like remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when you're like really in the midst of that conversation, you could say, when you're totally surrounded and then like out of the blue it's really hard to just remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How do you like what do you do in that situation?
Yeah. So that's a good question. So what I would say is there's this concept within the suluk itself, which is called khalwat dar anjuman. This is a Persian terminology, and what that means is khalwa basically means being in a state of solitude. Dar anjuman, in a gathering. So with excessive dhikr, a person is able to create that space for themselves inside, where even those words are coming, but they're getting filtered, meaning they do not have that direct impact on your heart, which in general words can have that. So they're coming through this wall and this shield that they will enter, but because you have that, you have that khalwa within, inshallah they will not have that. When you're in a state of ghaflat, when you're in a state of heedlessness, then everything that comes, you cannot control it. It will just go and touch your heart. It will go and it will tickle your nafs, and then people will act in this. Especially a lot of that has to do with your physical being as well. I mean, you're young, others are young, and so those kinds of conversations can be detrimental, because if everybody's talking about it right away, now your mind becomes focused on that. Your heart gets pulled towards that because the heart in general was looking for companionship or something, and the nafs gets pulled towards that as well because maybe there was some unattended shahwat within that wanted. So now all of your internal faculties have completely just, rather than this direction, it has completely shifted to that direction. And that obviously it leads to bad thoughts coming in, it leads to bad emotions and bad desires. And inshallah we will talk about that in very private majlis some other time, about how those kinds of thoughts can be really, really, I would say that is one of the biggest issues in one's suluk is shahwat of a person, because they will want to become close to Allah, but then again, because your whole mind, your heart, your nafs just gets pulled with such intensity towards that other than a miracle from Allah Ta'ala or help from Allah Ta'ala, then becomes difficult. So I would say, so the answer to your question is that you should in general become a person who does so much dhikr of Allah Ta'ala that disconnect happens and that khalwat arrangement happens, meaning you go outside, you're just impervious to whatever is being thrown your way. It's just like having that umbrella, whatever snow and rain is coming down, it's just not affecting you anymore. That is khalwat arrangement. But don't become too comfortable with yourself either. So I would say do avoid the company where that kind of discussion is being had a lot, because that's like putting yourself in this. Why would you want to put yourself in a situation where that your internal state could be compromised? So I would say avoid that, or you can let them know, it's okay. You know what? I I don't want to talk about these things right now. And it's okay. It's totally fine to say that. Especially if they're Muslims, you should be, I mean, this is this whole new concept that did not exist like 20 years ago. It's me, my life, and you just have to kind of be wishy-washy about things. And no, I mean, amar bil ma'ruf wa nahy anil munkar. You just say, you know what, brother, I love you for the sake of Allah, but we're not going to have this conversation right now. So take ownership and lead them out of that because it's not good for them either. It's not good for them to have those conversations either. So inshallah, to help them out of that as well. Inshallah. Any others? So inshallah ta'ala, we make dua that Allah ta'ala allows each and every one of us to look within ourselves, and wherever we see any element of nifaq or hypocrisy within ourselves, just like Hazrat Hanzala radiallahu ta'ala anhu, where there was a small change of his state, inner state, and he says, Nafika Hanzala, the Hanzala has become munafiq, a hypocrite. And Abu Bakr Siddiq was like, Na'udhu billah, what are you saying? You're not a munafiq, you're not a hypocrite. And he said that when I'm in the presence of Prophet ﷺ, I feel a certain way. When I'm away from him, I feel that I'm thinking about that. So I mean, it's just a small change in his inner state. And Hazrat Abu Bakr Siddiq said, I feel the same way. And so they both went to Prophet ﷺ and said that this is our state. Are we munafiq? He said, no, you're not. Because if you felt like you feel in my presence all the time, then subhanallah, then angels will come down and you'll see angels on the streets. So states change within, but it should not be that our state is somewhere else completely and our amal and what we're saying is somewhere else. That bridge has to be kept. So even the Sahaba Kram, they felt that. And the Umar Raziyallahu Ta'ala anhu, he used to ask a Sahabi who was given the name of hypocrites, because you question, people of Iman always question if hypocrisy has come into my heart or not. So he used to say, I'm not asking for names of hypocrites, but just tell me this, is my name included amongst those people? So this is questioning your own sincerity and questioning your own Iman and making sure you're not amongst, we don't become those people who are suffering from it. So may Allah Ta'ala allow us to get rid of these razail, and may Allah Ta'ala allow us to become people who are focused on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. So for a few minutes we will do muraqabah. Muraqabah is really closing our eyes, bowing our heads in humility and humbleness, really stepping back from all of our thoughts, stepping back from the thought process and telling ourselves that our thoughts are not us and we are not our thoughts. Whatever comes to mind, just let go of it. Bring your focus, your concentration, your tawajjuh down to your latifa qalb, part of our ruh, that is 2 fingers below our left chest. Focus on that region, that point. And now negate everything in this dunya. This dunya is fani. It is very temporary. And everyone in the dunya is fani, is very temporary. Let go of them. All the people, let go of them. All the things, let go of them. All the belongings, let go of them. Anything and everything in dunya, let go of each and every one of them. And affirm the one who is awwal, who is akhir, who is zahir, who is batin, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Feel Allah Ta'ala's tajalliyat, anwarat, nur, faizan, His light descending upon us. Feel that light entering our latifa qalb. Feel it getting absorbed in latifa qalb. And feel that your qalb is calling out to Him, your heart is calling out to Allah. Feel that your qalb is saying, Allah, Allah, Allah. لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم. ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين. رب اغفر وارحم وأنت خير الراحمين. اللهم يا مقلب القلوب ثبت قلوبنا على دينك. اللهم يا مصرف القلوب صرف قلوبنا على طاعتك. يا حنان يا منان يا ذو الجلال والإكرام يا حي يا قيوم برحمتك نستغيث. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. ربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين واجعلنا للمتقين إماما. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار وقنا عذاب القبر وقنا عذاب الحشر وقنا عذاب يوم يقوم الحساب وادخلنا جنة مع الأبرار يا عزيز يا غفار يا رب العالمين. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. صلى الله تعالى على خير خلق محمد وآله وصحبه أجمعين برحمتك يا رب.
Okay.